Hello guys, welcome back to yet another episode of Content Monsters, and in today's episode we are going to talk about the T20 World Cup that just concluded.
Oh, fine shot.
Comes on nicely onto the bat and it's just a lift.
What went wrong for India in the semi-finals and possibly in the overall World Cup as well, and what India needs to do to come back in top form, in roaring form once again. So first things first, being in the top four of a World Cup and losing out in the semi-finals is not as bad as it possibly seems or is being made out to be. Yes, India was semi-finalists in this World Cup, and that is not necessarily one of the worst things that can happen to a team. So that's number one. I think now let's consider a few points while evaluating India's performance. The reigning world champions Australia, who won the T20 World Cup last year, did not even make it to the last four in a World Cup that's being held in Australia. So the home advantage was of no use to them. They couldn't even make it to the final four. So that, I think, should be some solace for Indian fans. Number two, West Indies, the two-time T20 World Cup champions, couldn't even qualify for the main draw of the World Cup. They lost in the qualifiers itself to lesser known teams. So that itself should show you and how intensely competitive T20 cricket is in general. The margin for error is too small, and anybody can defeat any team on their given day. Now let's talk about one of the finalists, Pakistan, who actually couldn't even chase 129 against Zimbabwe. They lost their match against Zimbabwe as well. They were obviously beaten by India, as we all know, and they could only manage to go to the semis by huge dollops of luck because South Africa lost to Netherlands in a match they should have won. Now talking about South Africa, pre-tournament, they were making all the right noises. They've been defeating some top teams in T20. Everybody was going gaga over the fact that they had the best bowling lineup. Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Nigri, Anrik Notgie. You look at their bowling, Keshav Maharaj, Shamsi, they had one of the best bowling lineups. And yet, they also couldn't make it to the final four because they lost to Netherlands. Now let's talk about the other finalist, England. England actually lost their match to Ireland, who are not even professional cricketers. They're a bunch of amateurs, and they ended up defeating England in the group matches. So both the finalists, Pakistan and England, lost to much lesser known teams in the group matches. India, in fact, won 4 out of the 6 group matches. They were the table toppers, not just in their group, but overall across both groups, India had the maximum points, 8 points. And most importantly, India were clearly missing their best fast bowler, their best bowler overall, their best death bowler, Jasprit Bumrah. And India was also missing the best all-rounder, Ravindra Jadeja, who doesn't just bowl his quota of 4 overs, he also gives it all with the bat, and most importantly, he's India's best all-round fielder, and he was definitely being missed in the field. So clearly, if your best all-rounder and your best bowler are not part of the team because they're injured, it's bound to make a dent to your performance. So now, keeping this 5 or 6 factors in mind, I think while there is a lot of scope for India to improve, we should be sufficiently satisfied with what India achieved. And the reason I also say that is because India's current team and the way they are playing in T20s and the template they've adopted is not the template that can win you World Cups. It needs a high-risk, all-out aggressive template, which India is still not following. They're making the right noises in terms of saying it or spelling it out, but they're not executing it. And therefore, for them to go beyond the semi-final was obviously going to be difficult. Even Pakistan, for that matter, I always knew they're not going to win the final because their template, to some extent, is similar to India's. India is very good in their batting and Pakistan is very good in their bowling. But even Pakistan's batting template is very conservative. They're not following the modern day template. Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam are way too slow for a format like this. But let's focus our energies on India. And if there's one country who's managed to get the T20 template bang on, or rather the white ball cricket template bang on, it's England, and that's why. And therefore, it's no surprise that in the last 5 white ball tournaments, England has made it to the knockouts 5 times, and they've ended up winning the cup twice, the 2019 World Cup and the 2022 T20 World Cup. So clearly they have a template in place which is giving them results, and that is something India also needs to move towards. So now this is what the T20 World Cup was all about. Now, why did India specifically not move beyond the semis. I think there are 5 things that went wrong for India, or what India did wrong. First, I think the lack of a wrist spinner. Clearly, spinners are your go-to bowlers in T20 cricket, more so leg spinners. Almost all good teams have good leg spinners, whether it's Adil Rashid for England or Shadab for Pakistan, or even Adam Zampa for Australia, who's been doing fairly well in recent times. India were clearly missing a wrist spinner, a leg spinner. Now, whether that leg spinner is Ravi Bishnoi, whether it's Kuldeep Yadav, or whether it's Yuzvendra Chahal, India need to take that call and blood them in and give them a long rope to ensure that they are in the team and performing well in some of these white ball tournaments. So clearly that is one reason that let India down. 2, clearly KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, while they were making all the noises in terms of batting with intent, getting off to a flying start, so India had one of the worst starts in the power play across all major teams. India was barely in front of possibly Afghanistan and one other team. So before the World Cup, all that talk about intent, and Rohit also used to get off to flyers, whether it was the quick 10, 15, 20, 25s. That never happened in this World Cup. India was way too slow in the power plays. So that, I think, was a clear letdown, and you cannot always make up for that in the last 5 or 7 or 8 overs. While India tried their best, and actually 168 was a decent score from where they started, it wasn't obviously good enough given that England achieved that in just 16 overs. Third, I think the persistence with KL Rahul. KL Rahul, without a doubt, is one of the most exciting talents that India has had in recent years. He, without a doubt, is one of the most talented openers India has. But if a person is just not in form, you have to sit him down. You have to give him a break. It's okay if someone else comes in place of KL Rahul for some time.
High over the fence, 6, 20 runs from the over, 11 gone.
Because he's clearly not delivering when it matters. Now it's obviously a running joke that you get a small team and KL Rahul will deliver. But whenever it's needed for him to deliver in the knockouts or the big games, he doesn't. The other joke that's going around is that you should have an orange cap like there's one in the IPL, and then KL Rahul will score runs. Otherwise he won't. I just think a player of his caliber, his talent, cannot do so much injustice, not just to Indian cricket, but to himself as well, so as to not achieve his potential. I think he clearly needs a break from the game. He needs to go back to domestic cricket, work hard, and then come back, because right now he's clearly blocking the spot of a much talented youngster or a player who deserves better opportunities, and he's not helping the team's cause as well. I think Shubman Gill, Prithvi Shaw, or Sanju Samson for that matter are far more deserving of a place in the Indian squad right now than KL Rahul is. So that clearly, I think, needs to be considered. Fourth, I think bowling. India was clearly missing Bumrah, and just blooding in Shami at the last minute is obviously not going to help. As one saw in the semis, he conceded the maximum runs. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, I think, is long past his sell-by date, without a doubt. The joke going around with him is that don't give him the 19th over, otherwise you'll end up losing it. So I think Bhuvneshwar and Shami now maybe don't have a role in T20 cricket. They need to focus on one-dayers and test matches, Shami specifically on test matches, because and I think India's bowling needs to have, along with Arshdeep, maybe a Mohammad Siraj or a Harshal or even Umran Malik for that matter, because his raw pace is what India needs. Raw pace is what India was missing. So I think India clearly needs to look at its bowling structure, getting a complete overhaul. I think even Ashwin will have to go now. He himself will admit that he didn't play to his potential. He could have done a lot better. A lot more was expected from a senior bowler like him, but I think India now needs to go with the flair and flamboyance of youth. And lastly, I think the fifth reason that didn't help India is the DK versus Pant. Now, if you're grooming DK to be a finisher for the last 1 year or so, then you've got to play him the entire World Cup. You just can't sit him down in the semis and one match prior to the semis. There is no point in doing that. Then you might as well have had Pant all throughout. Now, Pant has established himself as a cricketer to look out for in test matches. I see no reason why he won't do well in T20s. In fact, in one of my earlier videos, I had even said that Pant should actually open with Rohit Sharma, because that will give India the flamboyant opening that India needs in a World Cup like this. And I still maintain that Pant has to start opening now, because that's when he gets the best platform to perform with the the field not spread out. In fact, that is one of the reasons why he's so successful in T20 cricket as well. So clearly, I think now with this World Cup getting over, we know that DK doesn't have too much time left on his side. Very, very clearly, Pant should be your go-to wicket keeper, and more importantly, should also open the batting. So these, I think, were the 5 reasons that caused India's downfall. Like I said, with this team and the template that they had adopted, I think semi-final was their best possible return in a World Cup like this, and I think they've achieved that. And given how tough this World Cup was, I don't think India would have gone beyond. By luck of chance in the final, they would have gone defeated by England, because England is playing a beast of T20 cricket without a doubt. They are monstrous. They are playing T20 cricket the way modern T20 cricket should be played. So without a doubt, they would have blown away anyone who would have come in their path in the finals. So this is what India did wrong. Now, what needs to be done going forward? I think the next T20 World Cup is in 2024 in the West Indies. Very clearly, they need to sit and understand with the players who is going to play every T20 match till the 2024 World Cup. You can't have players picking and choosing tournaments that they want to play, because only those players who are absolutely sure of playing the 2024 World Cup should be shortlisted right away, and they should be started to be groomed right away, because that's what England did after the 2015 World Cup that they lost so badly. They lost a match against Bangladesh, and that triggered off a complete overhaul of the system. That triggered off widespread changes across their white ball cricket, and the results are there to see. And so, if that means Rohit Sharma is not going to play the 2024 World Cup because he's going to be 37 by that time, then Rohit Sharma should stop playing T20 cricket. If that means even if Virat Kohli is not going to play the 2024 World Cup because he's going to be 36 by that time and he wants to focus on one-day cricket and test, then he should be dropped from the T20 side right away, or he should be asked to move out, because that gives youngsters a chance to move in. DK and Ashwin, I think, clearly are done with T20, and so is Shami and Bhuvneshwar Kumar. I think even Akshar Patel and KL Rahul should be benched right now for the kind of form they are in. They need to go back to the grind, work hard, prove themselves, and then come back. I would strongly say get in Shubman Gill, get in Sanju Samson, get in Prithvi Shaw, ensure that Pant is an absolute regular in the side, get in Umran Malik, Harshar Patel, Mohammad Siraj, and ensure that Hardik and Surya and Ravindra Jadeja are a part of this entire setup. Now, these players will form the fulcrum of the T20 side going forward, and most importantly, wrist spinners. Get Ravi Bishnoi, Kuldeep Yadav and Yuzvendra Chahal in the mix, and decide in the next 6 to 8 months who's going to be your go-to bowler when that T20 World Cup in West Indies arrives. Because I think one of the concessions that the selectors have been doing is allowing some senior players to picking and choosing tournaments. That won't work. Then they might as well do away with fun format. And I think Virat and Rohit have played enough cricket. Now, even if they were to miss the next World Cup, it's fine, because that will enable them to concentrate on the one-day World Cup next year in India, because that is very, very critical. And of course, the World Test Championship, India needs to win the next 6 tests to be able to qualify for the World Test Championship finals, and that will also help them to start preparing for the next ICC Test Championship round. So I think it will be good if they can choose their formats wisely and leave the T20 format to more aggressive players, to players with more flair, who are not averse to risk taking, and who, if backed properly, can actually deliver the results for India. Because like I said, India's performance has not been that bad as it is made out to be, because semi-finalist is the best that they could go to. If they really want to move a couple of steps ahead and go on to win the World Cup, they have to make these drastic changes and bring that overall. Even this team that I'm talking about, you still have a Surya, you still have a Hardik, you still have a Ravindra Jadeja, you still have an Arshdeep, you still have a Chahal. These 5 or 6 players that played in this World Cup will continue to be there. All I'm saying is that the other 5 or 6 that need to be changed, that change needs to be thought of now, and that change needs to be started to be implemented from now. They've already selected a different team for the New Zealand series. A lot of these players have been given a break, and I think that's an excellent opportunity for some of these youngsters to shine and push some of the seniors into deciding whether they need to continue or they need to pull back and avoid this format going forward. And I genuinely believe that this is not a knee-jerk reaction because, like I said, 50% of the team remains. But if this is done and implemented well, I see no reason why India can't go that 1 or 2 steps forward and win the next World Cup. So that's it from my side. I'd love to hear what you think about why India lost and what could be the possible reasons for their loss and what changes India needs to make. If you like our video, please do subscribe to our channel, and for many more such videos, please do keep coming back. We'll see you soon. Thank you.